my mission in life is to help as many people achieve financial freedom through real estate and taxes. It took me a while to kind of get all that into words, but I didn't see that with the audit side. I saw that with the tax side because I saw how much my dad struggled.
As an operator, I know other investors are romanticizing multifamily investing, and I'm looking to learn from other investors' mistakes. I know you are too, and you found the right place. Welcome to Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Multifamily Missteps. I'm your host, Jerome, and I've got Larry Pendleton in with me today. Are you in the Tidewater? Where are you, man? Because you're everywhere. I see you at meetups in New York and Texas and Israel because you were at Yona's thing. Like, where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Tidewater. Man, I haven't heard anyone say Tidewater in a while. Just say how old I am. But yeah, I'm in Hampton Roads, Norfolk to be exact. I guess probably about 3-4 hours north of you, because you're in Greensboro, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I used to run up and down I-64 for a number of years while I was building that division for the Fortune 550. But fortunately, I'm out of corporate now. So, Larry, you're an operator, you're an accountant. Like, I know you have done some deals. It's gotten you into some new spaces and places. And everything, because you're an accountant, I know everything is went exactly the business plan, right?
Nothing else. We're operating a lot in the gray. It's never just black and white. That's the business plan, like the plan out to be.
Come on, man. I just the precision of it all. You got it down to the penny, right? You did the pro forma and
Yeah,
it had at the bottom the NOI down to 87 cents, right?
yeah, to the penny for the pro forma, and then there's a mishap with a tenant or the contractors didn't bid something correctly, or someone had to get fired. So life tends to happen.
Amazing. So give the listeners a little bit about your background. I've been dancing around, playing around with it, but who are you and what you've been up to the past few years?
Yeah, Larry Pendleton, born and raised out in Norfolk, Virginia. If you can't tell by the southern drawl, been doing tax consulting, tax planning, tax preparation for over a decade. Over eight of those years as a CPA. My firm is PC Financial Services with me and my partner Terry Conyers. And our team, we primarily focus on serving and adding value to other professionals in real estate. We kind of took that turn roughly 4 years ago now. And then just kind of just been building up from there. Started investing myself roughly 6 years ago in the pretty standard route. Started off small, single family rental that I still have today. Did Took my swing at flips, burned and crashed on that. Talking about missteps there, and then just kind of just slowly, kind of just doing small, like just took the, I guess, the linear approach, which was you start to find the Michael Blancs in the world and the Rob Khalils. I could have just jumped straight into larger multifamily and scaled a bit better from there. So that's why I kind of just been focusing, just kind of just networking and building with other investors and just adding value where I can.
You said where you can, right? And I think a lot of people get into the space with the concept that they're going to get a bunch of tax breaks. They don't have to pay taxes if they're a real estate investor. You're a tax professional, so I can actually ask you, how does this thing work, right? Or and what missteps are you seeing people make as either operators or limited partners when it comes to being in a multifamily space?
It's funny because I had a consultation meeting this morning with somebody, and he had, I mean, he prepared this stuff for 2020, and he was about to file it, and but when he saw the numbers, and it was like over $90,000 that he was going to owe in taxes, but he was like, but I'm in real estate, I'm supposed to get all these tax breaks, and it's like, okay, what parts of real estate are you doing? And it was like, well, I do all these flips, and it was like, well, that's not the real estate that gets you the tax savings. But I got these rental properties. Like, okay, how long have you held them? Like, well, over 5 years. I was like, well, you got depreciation, but that only goes but so far. Like, the primary reason, the incentive that the government is offering is that you're continually buying and building and redeveloping um, newer rental properties. Like, you just can't sit back on sit back on what you did a few years ago and think that's going to ride you out while you're still making money elsewhere. You have to have that balance between the two and leverage rental real estate, which is really the true incentive over just over transactional real estate from that standpoint there. So, and that's how a lot of people start to kind of I get a lot of people transitioning more into rentals and investing into larger deals for the cash flow. Explains the shirt that I'm wearing, and kind of build from there. And then once they kind of get into these syndications, apartments and new developments, then it's like, okay, dispelling just more myths from there.
So I put money in the deal, syndication. I get all the tax benefits, right? Everything's written off. I don't have to pay taxes.
And it kind of depends on there, like what type of income that you're making. Because a lot of times, one of the misconceptions, because what incentivizes a lot of investors into multifamily from an LP perspective, is the preferred returns. Like, okay, I'm going to get paid like before the GPs, and then I'm still getting this huge. They're getting this huge cost segregation done, and then I'm gonna be able to offset that, which that's not directly the case depending on how the operating agreement is set. Because typically, preferred dividends, because they're not based on how the property is operating, is really based on if the operators are going to issue that out, per the agreements that were signed, and whatever reserves that they have. It's a separate item where, like, that's actual the income, that's actual like income not related to the business, pretty similar to a dividend. So when you do get these huge losses from your from the cost segregation, which is based on the operational components of the property itself, like, those aren't automatically offsetting, because the preferred returns are considered more as non-passive activity, and the losses from the actual real estate itself is considered passive activity. And so those buckets do not automatically offset one another. So even though you have this huge loss, like, hey, you have this pref return, great. Like, we definitely want to make sure that we don't have the tax tail wagging the investment dog. So the deal makes sense with that pref. But if you're investing in these deals, and minimum is what, 25,000 to get in these deals, you're probably a high net worth individual. You're probably over the threshold of being able to claim passive losses to offset your your non-passive activity, your non-passive income there. So, which is why a lot of these syndicators will kind of make the disclaimer of talk to your tax advisor. Like, when everything is said and done, you sit in that Zoom webinar for a half hour. I've been in many of those, and then it's like, hey, we can offer all this. By the way, we're not tax advisors. Talk to your tax advisor. But then it then leads you into talking to someone, and who knows if your tax advisor is fully aware of how the tax law works when it comes to real estate. So then it becomes this conundrum of, okay, I want this deal. I don't know how it's going to affect my tax because my person doesn't know, or I'm doing my own taxes. I really don't know. I'm just kind of going off of books I'm reading and Bigger Pockets and YouTube and all great information, but how does it all relate to you? Is just when you have to kind of sit down and get the consultation that's needed.
Ooh. So you mean just having the information doesn't mean you know how to apply it?
I mean, yeah, I can get the information on how to drive an 18-wheeler truck, but I don't have the skill set to do that right away. And if I hop on the road, and I'm probably going to end up crashing and hurting myself and other people. So it takes time to kind of put those strategies together and how it applies to you and where you are right now. And sometimes you just have to kind of slow play it into it. It's like, okay, you may not be able to get these benefits now, but there may be a longer play that you can look forward to, but as of right now, the returns may outweigh the lack of the tax savings, and you have to look at it that way. It's not all doom and gloom because you don't get the tax savings if the returns are solid.
Okay. So I'm sure somebody's come to you since you've been focusing on real estate investors with their whole situation in shambles and you had to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. You mentioned tax strategy before, and I'm sure your conversation was, well, had you come to me earlier, then we wouldn't be dealing with this right now, but it is what it is at this point. So, what is it that you would share with people? And it's not specific tax advice, but education wise on things that they should be doing with people who are helping them prepare the taxes throughout the year in order to make sure that when they get to the end of the road, they're happy instead of mad because they're writing a big check to Uncle Sam.
It really goes into, can you leverage other investments against one another? Pretty similar to it's all just tax harvesting like people do with stocks, where like, okay, they have a good year, they may try to offload some bad stocks that's at a loss to kind of help offset that income. So it's really like, you got this year, you may have a property that's going full cycle in 2 3 years from now. Okay, let's let's start to look for more deals to kind of get into, because you're going to get a gain off of that one deal that's going full turn in a couple of years. You could have enough suspended losses that you couldn't have claimed from the previous years backed up to help offset it. But then you can also compound that by getting into another deal that's providing good returns. But then those returns in that year one, those losses from that cost segregation that everyone's promising you, could potentially offset whatever leftover gains from the sale of the property that you're getting out of from there. So it's in even the aspect of, okay, how are you really struggling? Are you interested to even get into real estate yourself? Because I have people that love their jobs, don't really have the time to really get into it, which is fine. I don't want to get anyone to like leave something that they love. So it's like, okay, do you want to get into just once again just hopping around different deals, or do you have time to get into short-term rentals, and have some properties on your own, and then possibly get some losses built up that way as well. I may have a couple where one spouse works, the other one doesn't. Okay, how involved is the one that doesn't work, and is that person interested in getting into real estate as well? And how do we get him or her qualified for real estate professional status and material participating with their properties as well, so that now we can group the activities from the passive activities, the actual like LP deals with their own personal rental portfolio. So it goes into this web of like, okay, I need to know what you got in your bucket, and then let's start to pull everything out and then see what your family goals are, what your investment goals are, what everyone really wants to do when it comes to real estate. Do they want to be completely hands off, or they don't mind getting their hands dirty a little bit, and just build a plan from there.
A lot of people want to be profitable multifamily operators, but lack the knowledge, deal flow, experience, and capital to be successful. They often try to overcome these challenges out of order, slowing or eliminating their ability to get the next deal done. We have developed a framework that allows them to gain the knowledge they need to find profitable deals. When they use our system, they create time and location freedom, as well as the generational wealth they desire for their family. The Multifamily Kickstart program has proven to be the fastest way to establish credibility and build a profitable apartment portfolio. Hop over to jeromemyers.co to find out more information. This whole concept, you broke down, hey, there's two different buckets. There's passive and active income. Basically, you got a job or you got investments. The If you make a certain amount of income, then you can't use your passive losses to offset your active income unless you're a real estate professional. or material participation. And
Yep.
if you check those boxes, you still got to go through the stuff, but the accounting has to be right. But you're saying once you're making meaningful income, and that's relative for everybody,
Hmm.
you need to have a tax strategy. You actually need to consider taxes instead of being what's the greatest and latest with TurboTax, right?
Right, and TurboTax is good for what it does. Like it's built for the masses, and but the masses have W-2s. They may have some investments, but overall, like they're pushing for people that are shooting for getting the larger refunds. Like if you're going to be in this space, like you don't hear about the Gates and the Trumps or the like whoever wealthy individual like that's in real estate or involved in real estate one way or another. You don't really hear about them getting refunds because that's not really how the system is created to benefit. Like you're supposed to contribute to the country one way or another. Either you're going to contribute as a taxpayer and pay into the bucket, or you're going to contribute as a someone providing something to the country, housing, food, water. But like I said, for the sake of this conversation, real estate, because the government wants the private sector. They want more people involved with providing housing for everybody. And more likely than not, you're not going to be in a like turbo tax position of really maximizing that unless you really know what you're doing. Then that's fine. You can work the system to get the same results that you're looking for, whether you go with someone else or not.
Now, there's some people out there who are trying to pay as little as possible for everything. And they're like, man, I don't know if I can afford or I don't know if I want to pay for a CPA, right? Maybe I should just get a bookkeeper. Like, when is a person in a position where their situation is complicated enough that it actually warrants coming to somebody like you to get some support?
It's a mindset to me where and I get it, like you have to see this investment to whoever, and it doesn't have to be a CPA. It can be an enrolled agent. It can be someone who is just that just knows the tax code very well. That just advised. They don't have any special letters behind their name. But you're going through someone and you're looking at it as an investment. Because one is a tax write off because it's for your business, your investment. But that investment should be helping you grow your investments and save you as much as you can in taxes. Like there should be some type of and there's not gonna be like a dollar for dollar aspect of it, but you still should start to see okay things are starting to your answers are starting to be cleared up. You're starting to see these things not really hit you too hard down the road while strategies are being put in place there. So it kind of starts off with that where it's like okay this is a mindset aspect of it. This is an investment or not. And I'm not saying pay for the most expensive person. You have your budget to consider of as well. um, but you're not going to you're not going to go to urgent care for heart surgery, and you're not going to go to a dentist if you have a foot problem. So you have to find this where I'm getting at. You got to find the right specialist because the tax code, to me, I like to describe it as the human body. There's different components to it. There's particular specialists for each of those components of what happened to your body, and you can go to an urgent care. They're going to refer you to a specialist. You get your arm broke, they're going to give you a sling, and then go see go see that surgeon about that as well. So, and that's how it has to really be seen, so that it's not this drag per se of like I'm not. And if you're not getting the value that you're expecting to get, like those are the upfront conversations that you need to be having with whoever is potentially going to be your advisor. Like how frequently are we going to meet, or what is the cost per se to meet on whatever basis, or keep on retainer or tax preparation from that there. Are you how you keeping up with the most recent changes, or I got this one deal, can we like what's the cost to kind of walk through the potential tax savings there. So you're because we're all valuing our time, and if someone's just kind of giving you information for free, then it's like, okay, they're gonna be pretty burnt out. And I speak from experience because I did that myself, thinking I was just helping, but it's like, okay, I'm losing time with my family, like I'm not getting sleep because I'm trying to out here trying to add value, but it comes eventually it's gonna have to come with a cost.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So you're downplaying the CPA thing. That test is not easy. You got extra schooling you got to go through.
Yeah,
You actually went through the steps of getting licensed. So, I mean, explain what that actually takes and what that means. Because, I mean, it is a differentiator, whether you want to be humble about your situation or not. It's meaningful from my perspective.
I mean it's I mean you're dedicating yourself to something where because there's four different parts to it, and you can go down each individual road of it. So like, and because at one point I could have just been doing audit work and would have been fine with that. I just didn't see a because that's my mission in life is to help as many people achieve financial freedom through real estate and taxes. It took me a while to kind of get all that into words, but I didn't see that with the audit side. I saw that with the tax side because I saw how much my dad struggled, um, just working his ass off, and then seeing his taxes getting like money tax bill every year, from that standpoint there. So it's like, hey, if I can tap into this, I can reach a lot of people, and help people not to get so be so afraid around this time of year, because at that point they would have planned for this time of year. So the test itself kind of opened up those doors for me to kind of look at from different perspectives when it comes to the financials, and then how to apply it to the everyday person, from there. And then of course it allowed me to kind of opportunities that I may not have gotten if I didn't have them. So the reason why I like to downplay it is because a lot that I've learned, a lot of knowledge that I speak of now is from the additional training and education that I continue to go through. So the CPA probably set that base for me to kind of like, hey, this is my work ethic. Like, I know I can go further, but in order to keep up with what's going on, to be more relatable to people and work on my personal skills as well as just different strategies, I have to keep educating myself. I can't just sit back and rely on this thing, even though it's there.
Love it, love it, love it. So I'm sure the listeners have more questions, Larry. What's the best way for them to find out more about you and what you do? This is going to come out in the middle of tax season. I'm pretty sure he's not going to get you done this year. You're going to have to get in queue and get ready for 2023. But, how can they get in touch with you, brother?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. Larry Pendleton CPA is most likely is to have try to bring all this together. Imagine there'll be show notes and all of that. So I have a link page that people can kind of go to learn more about me, different other stuff that I've spoken on, and then just kind of learn how our processes are within PC Financials. But yeah, but I'm also happy to give my cell phone number 757-535-8592. So happy to.
We got the cell phone number. We got the direct line, baby. Here we go.
So yeah, so like I said, typically give me 24 to 48 hours to even respond to a call or text. If you don't leave a voicemail, I'm not going to answer or call back because I don't answer numbers. I don't recall. I don't reply back to numbers I don't recognize. So that's just kind of my one my one thing there with my cell phone. But other than that, like I like engaging with people on this stuff. We're building up PC financials more and more where I can be in this space of just the networking, the strategies, and I have the team that kind of handles a lot of the grunt work, and all of that. So I try to let everybody shine as much as possible.
Larry, this was awesome, man. Thanks for the education, helping us learn a little bit more about some of the things that may be misleading for people who are getting into the space. I hate when people get frustrated when they get that K1 and the number is positive or it's negative. And then they go to their CPA and they're like, yeah, that's great, but we can't do anything with it, right? Because you make too much money. That phased out. You phased out of that part of the tax code. So to the listeners, the pack's with you. We'll talk soon. You made it to this juncture, so you really love what we shared on this episode of Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. Do us a favor. Give us a 5-star rating. Give us a review. And share this with somebody who's interested in multifamily investing. Until the next time, the pack is with you.